Good Erev Shabbos, everyone. Erev Shabbos, Parshas Emor. Start off with the laws of a Kayan. The Torah says, "Vayomer Hashem el Moshe, Emor el Kohanim b'nei Aaron, say to the Kohanim, the sons of Aaron, V'amarta alehem, and you'll say to them, L'nefesh shel yitma v'amav, that they're not allowed to become tamei, and that the warnings of the things that pertain to the Kohanim are all being listed in this section of the Parsha." All of our commentaries point out that the wording is strange. God says to Moshe, Emor el Kohanim, say this to the Kohanim. It doesn't say what. And then V'amarta alehem, say to them. So why would it say Emor V'amarta? Why would it say to them and say to them? Right? Tell them and say to them. Why are you repeating it twice? First of all, you could use different words. You could say Dabra el Kohanim V'amarta alehem, and say to them. What's the repetition of the words Emor V'amarta? So Rashi says, in the first Rashi on the Parsha, it says, Emor V'amarta laharze gedolim al ketanim, to warn the gedolim on the ketanim, to make sure that the adults teach this to the children. That this is something critical to teach the children. Okay, but how's that conveyed in the words Emor V'amarta? You could say V'amarta alehem, say to them. And that's also something important that they have to teach the children alone, without having to say the words Emor V'amarta. Speak to the Kohanim V'amarta and say to them. And how did the repetition of those words convey the message that we're turning to the adults and we're saying to them that they have to warn the children? So I think we have to understand that there are two different ways that the Torah expresses speaking. God speaks to Moshe, he says, Vayomer, Emor, and Dibur, V'dibarto. But those two words convey different messages. Our rabbis tell us that one is softer, one is harsher. What does it mean? One is a softer language, one is a harsher language. So I think that amira means conveying a message to someone else without necessarily imposing your own views on them. I'm trying to inspire you, I'm trying to teach you something without having to say that I'm backing you into a corner, that this is what you have to do, and there's an expectation that you follow my dictates, you follow my line. Dibur is a harsher language. Dibur is really imposing one's will on their listener. That daber means make sure they understand this and make sure they do this. Very often, that's the way parents talk to children. That it's not a v'amarta, very often it's a dibur. Because they're trying to convey to the child that this is what they expect of them. The truth is that's useless. Because the child, as a child, is not interested in hearing the will of the parent and following the will of the parent merely because it's the will of the parent. The child wants to know that what it's doing is really best for them. The child wants to understand that this is the perfect way, this is the best way for them to be. Even HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when he commands us, it's not commanding us, imposing his will on us. He wants us to understand that this is the best for us. That every commandment, every mitzvah, every obligation, everything that we do is really ultimately the best way for us to be able to exist as spiritual human beings in this world. How do you convey that? You have to convey that through speech that's louder than words. You have to convey that through your life and through your actions. That for you also, this is the best way to live. That I'm not just telling you that this is what you should be doing, but I'm modeling that behavior and I'm living that behavior. If you're modeling the behavior that you're expecting, you're sending a message to your child, you're sending a message to everyone around you. That it's not just about what you expect them to do, but it's what's best for all of us. And I'm asking you to do this not because I need you to follow me, but I need you to live in the best way possible. And Rabbi tells a story that there was a fellow who got called into his son's school. The principal told him that his son was stealing pens Every day there were pens that were stolen, were gone. Father says it's so strange. I don't know why Dafki should feel that he needs to steal pens. I bring him home hundreds of pens from the office. Don't know what he needs more. Stop and think. The behavior that's being conveyed, the values that are being conveyed, are very different than the ones that are being spoken about. And that's what the Torah is telling the Kohen parents and is telling every single human being. Emor and V'amarta. You have to say this, but V'amarta, your whole being has to say this. Your whole being has to convey this message that this is the best for your listener. This is the best for your child, and the proof that it's the best because I live this way also. That when you want to teach, it's not just about Emor, but it's about Emor V'amarta. You have to convey that this is best for them, and you have to live and convey not beyond your words that this is what's best for your listener. That's the only way to have effective chinuch. It's the only way to teach effectively. It's the only way to inspire people effectively. It's the only way to lift up and to guide and to inspire our children. Is if it's Emor V'amarta. If we say it and we live it, then it has a chance of landing and a chance of guiding and shaping their lives. We should have a beautiful, awesome, amazing, wonderful Shabbos. Shabbos.